You tell me when. Oh, it's already started, so yeah, we're good to go. So hello, everyone. My name is Jose Infante. I am here with my colleagues, Nelly Farmaletta and Jan Pham, and we are representing Study Maryland outside and in conjunction with our respective universities. So to begin with, let's talk about buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, lo que ustedes gusten en estos momentos, o depende cómo se sientan. Esperamos que disfruten de la presentación. Vamos a hacer todo esto va a ser en inglés, pero yo quería añadir las bienvenidas en español. So, let's begin with, let me try to share my screen. And so that everyone can see what we're seeing. What do you guys see? Do you see the presentation, or do you see the other side?
We're seeing your notes.
Aha.
No, we don't want to see that, right?
No, we don't want to see that. I always hate when that happens. All right, let me stop sharing for a minute. Let me see how I can bring this over. So let me bring you guys to this side. Let me bring the presentation. Escape. There you go. One more time. No. All right, let's try this again. I'm going to share screen 2. You should be seeing yourselves. Now, is it better?
Perfect.
Beautiful. All right, so let's begin with the basics. Today's topic is about how to select a university in the United States. Why the United States, why Maryland, and the types of institutions and special opportunities that you will have at Maryland. So let's begin with the introduction of ourselves. As I mentioned, I have my colleague Jan Pham. She's an assistant director of international student recruitment at Goucher College. My friend and colleague, Miss, oh my God, we forgot your name, Nelly. But we got your important, you're an assistant director of international student services at CCBC. And of course, I represent Towson University. I'm the associate director of international recruitment and admissions. Today, I'm going to talk to you about cookies and how it relates to the United States. It's a very simple thing. If we were live, I would ask you, what type of cookies do you like? Now, I know that alfajores is a very popular thing in Argentina, right? But think in terms of, you have options of cookies, many different cookies. So think of this as your wonderful aisle of cookies, but you're only allowed to pick one. How will you do it? What makes that cookie special? What type of ingredients do you like? Again, some of you will not get out of the alfajores, but maybe some of you will tackle into the butter cookies, or perhaps the chocolate chip, or the Oreos with the mint. Who knows? Think of this aisle as the whole United States and all the many different universities that you have to choose from. Amazing. There is no such thing as a bad school. They're all very qualified schools. But the question is, you can't go to all 50,000 universities or cookies that you have here. You have to choose one. So the question is, how do you do it? So some of you will do it because of the ingredients. Some of you will do it because of the taste. Some of you do it because it has more chocolate chips or whatever it is that you like. In reference, we want you to know, to ask you, where would you like to live? In a mountain, by the beach, on the West Coast, on the East Coast, on a city, on a countryside. What is it that makes you more comfortable? We have it all. Now, what happens next is, how do you pick that university? So I just mentioned a few things. Location. Where would you like to be? What do you like to do? I myself like chocolate chip cookies. So this is why you're seeing chocolate chips. And I usually pick the cookie with the most chips. Pretending that your favorite cookie is chocolate chips, the question is, which university has the most chips? This is to say, does it have my major? Does it have my location? Does it have the right price? How much do they want me? What type of scholarship am I getting? Am I getting any scholarship? All of these things are important to you. And this is how you select your university, depending on the amount of chips and the quality of the chips that you want in your cookie. We, in the Office of Admissions, we talk about chocolate chips too. But in our case, at least for Towson, we're talking about your academics. We're talking about your involvement outside of the classroom. Like, do you play sports? Do you do volunteer work? What else could you do? What things that you're involved in? What are your particular interests? Most likely, I will often ask, what do you bring to the table into our community? These are the types of chocolate chips that I, at Towson, I'm looking for. And I'm going to give a little space to my colleagues and ask them, what are they looking for when they're in their admissions process? Jen?
So when you are applying to colleges, you'll find that a lot of them have very similar requirements. I'll talk a little bit more about culture and kind of what makes us different from the other institutions, but we are a small private liberal arts school, and we are part of the Common App. And so if folks are familiar with the Common App, that is how you can apply. So of course, we're looking at your grades. We're looking at how involved you are, and what recommendations do your teachers, what great things does your counselor have to say about you? What type of responsibilities have you had when you're at home or in your community, or how has COVID impacted your learning experience, in the past couple of years? And so most of the schools, especially those who are represented today, we review on a holistic case where we're looking at all of these different factors to tell your story, to essentially what Jose likes to say, what's your favorite type of chocolate? Or what's your favorite type of cookie? And his is chocolate chips. Mine is oatmeal raisin, which is very particular, but other people might like sugar cookies. And so it's really every experience is different, and every college is different as well. And so I will pass it over to Nelly to share more on the community college side.
Well, thank you, Ms. Jen and Mr. Jose. I'm absolutely hungry and can't remember what I wanted to say because I'm staring at the cookie in the middle. I've actually counted the number of chips. Okay, I'm sorry, back to work. So hi, I'm Miss Nelly from the Community College of Baltimore County. And if I had to describe CCBC's cookie, it would be a vanilla wafer. Because as an open enrollment institution, American community colleges don't require standardized test scores like SATs or ACTs. Instead, for the international student, we'll simply follow the educational guidelines, which is that you need to have completed the equivalent of high school or secondary education in your country, and then show financial ability to pay. So our cookie is is more a cookie that you can design. And most people choose our cookie because they plan to start here and then transfer to a four-year institution. So if you're looking for a lower cost, a smaller college setting, non-competitive admissions, then a sugar cookie or vanilla cookie would describe most US community colleges. Now I'm really hungry. Where's the milk?
Okay, so this is just a brief description of how you should select a US university. What is best for you? What is more appropriate for you? The whole concept of this, folks, is for you to be happy and for you to get the best education for your money. But that takes planning. And you need to do your research early, and you need to be aware of not only how much the university costs, but what is the cost of attendance, which means what is it going to take you in terms of books, in terms of living expenses. All of these things have to be in your radar. Again, part of the ingredients of the cookie that is going to make that experience better for you. Now,
and one of the biggest tips before we move on and talk about Study Maryland that I like to give students is it's extremely important to be organized during this whole college search process, because you'll quickly learn, if you haven't already, that every single school that exists out there is different, even in the smallest way. And so what I recommend to students is create a spreadsheet. If it's on Excel or just on a piece of paper, create a spreadsheet with the names of the schools that you're interested in on the rows, and then on the columns you put price, location, major, every ingredient to the colleges that you are looking for. That way you know exactly, oh, this school is located here at this price and they offer X amount of scholarships, whereas this school is a little bit different. It's very important to be organized, because we have different deadlines too, and I know that those are going to be creeping up on us very, very soon. I mean, August is less than a month away, and that's when our applications tend to open, but it's very, very important to be organized during this time.
and so on that note, I'm going to take you to about 20,000 feet and talk to you about the fact that your cookie aisle is practically the whole world. And I'm just talking to you about one aisle, and that is the United States. Within the United States, the reason why you want to study here is because we are still probably the best education in the world in terms of higher education. Our universities have some of the best resources, depending on the school and depending on this area of study. You're still at top of the line in terms of the reasons why you want to study in the United States. I'm going to bring you down now to about 10,000 feet and talk to you about Maryland. The state of Maryland is located in the mid-Atlantic. So we're not Northerners, we're not Southerners, we're both. And we're good. We're actually so good that we are among the best 6 states in the United States. We are approximately an hour away from, Towson is about Baltimore. Our 3 universities are about an hour away from Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and New York City. We're 3 hours away from New York City. And within this corridor, you're talking about some of the most important, best experiences in terms of economic growth, academic growth, because you have some of the best universities in the country within the corridor between New York City and Washington, D.C. You picture it, you see it. Now I'm going to bring you down a little bit further more, and I'm going to let Jen talk to us about how diverse the state is.
So Maryland, if you're not familiar, is a very, very diverse state. Like Jose said, we're located just right smack center of North and South, East Coast of the United States. I'm actually from New England in Massachusetts, and so the weather is a little bit different, but the people are definitely different as well. There's definitely much more diversity, different types of people that live in the Baltimore area alone. For those who might not be familiar with Baltimore, you might be more familiar with DC, which is, the capital of the United States, which is the international hub of our country. And so we are so close to very popular, famous areas in the area. Just fun fact, about 10% of folks who live in this Baltimore area are born internationally. And so that number is growing, and we're looking to bring more international students to our area, to our state. We are continuing to grow. It's something that we're very proud of. Our international students feel comfortable and also love meeting other people from all around the world. And so you'll be able to see through our presentations and hear about our different colleges, how diverse and how special our colleges are.
Fantastic. I'd just like to add that also about 40% of Marylanders are mixed race. We're ranked number 5 in U.S. education and employment opportunity, as I mentioned. Our industry strengths are biohealth, financial services, cybersecurity, agribusiness, aerospace, space, transportation, and manufacturing. We are home to 900 internationally owned businesses. There's an Argentinian bakery that I like to go to close by. So yes, there's one of those too. And we are number 2 in the highest share of all technology companies in the United States. Huge, huge. Okay. Ms. Nelly, would you like to talk to us about the types of universities that we have and take us from here?
It would absolutely be my privilege, Mr. Jose. And so what I hope the students have heard is that if your flavor of cookie is a place where you want to major in the sciences or healthcare or transportation or technology or manufacturing or transportation, yeah, we got that. And while you try to choose from the many colleges around the Washington and Maryland's beltways, you'll find that we have an assortment of cookies. So if you say that you prefer to be in an urban setting, if you'd want for example, a 2-year institution that would be in the city, you might choose our Baltimore City Community College, my colleagues at BCCC, because you want to be in downtown Baltimore at the harbor, at the major port, where all the hubbub is. Baltimore's a huge city and the capital, oh, I'm sorry, Annapolis is the capital, but a huge seaport and transportation port. If you said you wanted instead rural, more countryside, to the west of Maryland, interestingly, are the mountains. So you can literally drive from the mountains to the ocean in the state of Maryland. So if you say you wanted a major in forestry, for example, if that's your flavor, you might be interested in our colleagues at Garrett Community College. If you wanted a more suburban experience, that would describe my 2-year institution. We're about 10 minutes from the Baltimore-Washington International Airport. And so we're not in the city. We're not in the beautiful, rural, rustic western part of Maryland. We're just about a 10-minute drive from the hubbub of downtown Baltimore. Community colleges, if that's your cookie, again, are open enrollment institutions, meaning if you apply with educational and financial credentials, we will make you an offer of acceptance. We generally have longer acceptance deadlines, and students choose, but we don't accept, with the exception of the community college Garrett in the western part of the state, we do not have dorms. So we don't have dormitories. You don't live on campus. Most of our students are commuters. So we find that people choose community colleges for our smaller class size, our lower cost, and because they're being sent to live with auntie and uncle, and that's never bad to have family here. That helps make the transition. Also, we're really proud of the fact that Maryland community colleges work in tandem with our 4-year institutions. We have software and agreement known as ArtSys, where basically your 2 years that you spend at a community college, once you complete that degree, you will now transfer as a junior into our Maryland four-year institutions. So we're the little sister of Maryland's four-year institutions. Again, community colleges are a great choice for a lot of students who want the smaller cookie, the rural, urban, or suburban cookie. We have every major under the sun, and you can easily transfer to our four-year partners with a transfer scholarship as long as you have great grades. Next slide, Mr. Jose. Did you want to go on to do, Ms. Jen will go on to do this part, right?
Correct.
Yes. All right, so let's take a moment to talk about small private liberal arts institutions. And so if you're not familiar with what a liberal arts institution is, it's typically smaller in size compared to your larger state universities. But our emphasis in our curriculum is across many, many disciplines. And so it's not always just STEM focused or science focused, though the disciplines are embedded into your curriculum. So if you are interested in, say, a social science or dance or theater or art or even business, you can find these majors at a small liberal arts institution. However, within your curriculum, you'll be learning much more than just your major. So for example, at Goucher College, which is the institution that I work at, you actually don't declare a major until after your first semester. This is to encourage students to try something new, to take a class that maybe you were interested in and you wanted to learn more about, but you never had the opportunity to. And so within your first year seminar classes, you'll be able to take some fun classes to get you excited about college, but also learn about philosophy or psychology, math, and even computer science. And so it's really up to you and what you are looking for. But typically at liberal arts schools, we are located on smaller campuses. You'll see if you get the opportunity to either e-visit, do virtual tours, or even maybe come and visit our campuses. We are very green. You'll see there's a lot of grass and trees, and you can see in the photos, it's typically a little bit more quiet and not located in the city. And so if you are looking for a close-knit community where you have smaller classroom size experiences, but also really get to know your professors on a first name basis, then please consider, a small private liberal arts institution like the ones that are on the screen. Just to also share, Goucher is the one of two schools in the United States that actually require our students to study abroad. So if you're interested in studying somewhere else in the world other than the United States, we will send you absolutely free. And so that's what Goucher is known for study abroad. I'm going to stop here just because I can talk all day about liberal arts and I do want to answer any of your questions. But I'm going to hand it over to Jose to talk about the large public universities.
Sorry, I had trouble unmuting myself. Oh, so, and go. There you are. So when we talk about the large public universities, we talk about the big mammoth schools. You're talking about University of Maryland, Baltimore County, and of course, Towson University. These are the pride and joy of the university system of Maryland. We're big, we're bombastic. We have sports, we have research, we have big labs. But each one of us is unique in a sense. So that's why you are able to choose. And it's your job to figure out which of these public universities you would like to attend. For example, as I mentioned, Towson University is the second largest schools in the state of Maryland. We have everything that you would want from a large public university. What is unique about it is that our average class size is around 24 students, which means that we can give you the attention of a private liberal school. So you are not a number. You are teachers, advisors will know you by your name. And again, with that type of resource from being a large public university, we also are able to provide our students with 81,000 internships that you can practice what you learn in the classroom and decide whether, wow, this is what I really like, or perhaps, oh, Jesus, that internship opened my eyes. I gotta go and change my major. You know, whatever it is that you have that you need, Towson is able to provide it for you. The same thing with all these other universities. I'm just giving you the example of Towson because, oh, that's what I know. So, but this is the idea of a large public universities. We are, for example, Towson is in process of becoming an R2, which means strong research-based university. So there's the University of Maryland, and UMBC is in that process too. So that is the big thing about the public universities. Oh, and competitively speaking, I come from New York. The price is right for, if you compare in terms of state universities like California, New York, or Texas, we are like extremely well priced, very competitive. And one of the biggest things that we have, the state of Maryland has actually, is that relationship with the community colleges. So folks, let me emphasize this relationship. One, phenomenon. Universities do not compete against each other. So if the University of Maryland has an MBA, for example, a master's degree in business administration, Towson cannot have one. Towson will offer you a master's in, let's say, marketing intelligence or accounting, okay? Maryland schools don't compete against each other. And as I said, the relationship between those community colleges, all of them, will save you up to 40% of tuition on a 4-year degree. Think about that. Also, as you're flipping the page and looking at the ingredients in the cookies, take a look at the accelerated programs that these universities offer. That means that you can get your bachelor's and your master's in 5 years. So folks, yes, coming to the United States is expensive, but there are ways to cut that cost. Ms. Nelly.
Thank you, Mr. Jose. So I have the privilege of explaining that the United States has over, I think it's 110 historically Black colleges and universities. And if you're not familiar with the racial history of America, I strongly urge that you do a little reading, a little background. So prior to 1865 and a little Civil War, roughly a third of the US population was of African descent, like me, and they were relegated, only permitted to attend historically Black colleges and universities. The great news is that these proud institutions survive to today. I am a happy alumni of Howard University in Washington, D.C., the best HBCU. But let me continue by telling you, here in Maryland, we also proudly have Morgan State University. Again, started in the days where people of African descent could not attend other universities, but today across the nation, heads held high, you'll hear of the legacy of historically Black colleges and universities where all are welcome. Though they began as spaces where only some people could attend, they are open to all. And Morgan is a major research institution where you can obtain your bachelor's, your master's, and your PhD. It happens to be located in downtown Baltimore. So if you are looking for an experience of diversity, global diversity, students of every hue, culture, and kind, you might be very proud to be an HBCU graduate, as am I.
So which one of you was it?
I
Jen?
can talk about the ESL programs. And so for students who need to brush up on their English proficiency, there are programs that exist for them to take English as a second language. So most colleges, since as you're applying as an international student, will require that you submit some type of proof of English proficiency, whether it's through the TOEFL, IELTS, or even Duolingo. And you have to have a certain score in order to pass their admissions requirement. And some students who might have either a low score or might still have a good score but want to still brush up more on their English, they can apply to ESL programs that exist at some colleges. And so the University of Maryland College Park has a wonderful program through the Maryland English Institute, where you can enroll just to study English, but then also apply and take classes later on at any of the other Maryland institutions as well. I used to work there, so I'm familiar with the program. Not sure if there are any others, Jose or Nelly, that are in Maryland, but if that is something that you're looking for more information on, we'd be more than happy to share that with you.
Yes, Ms. Jen, plenty. So at UMBC, at Baltimore City Community College, Howard Community College. So again, around Washington and Baltimore's Beltway, if the requirement is that you learn English first, excuse me, Towson, I'm so sorry, excuse me. Yes, so if your flavor is that you need to build English skills, and again, we are talking about students who might have, advanced credentials in their home country, right? So they have masters and so on and so forth, but based upon career needs or just personal growth, they have decided that, having that second and third language will be beneficial. Then you can be an F1 student, international student, simply to study English at these institutions. Thanks, Ms. Jen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please follow us through Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. You can contact us at infostudymaryland.org. We will provide you with information that you need on the school that you want. We will put you in contact with the university that you want and provide you with whatever you need to come to Maryland. And the truth is, we, the three of us, will give you advice on how to apply to the United States willingly, not necessarily to any of our schools, although really, that's what we want. Thank you all for coming, and for those who are listening to the recording, thank you for your attention throughout.
All right. Thank you guys very much. Is it okay for you if we open up for some questions now?
Absolutely.
All right. So go ahead and you can open your mics or write in the chat. It is best to just raise your hand and give us your question. Remember, they could say they can help you with whatever you need, right, as regards the admission process. If you break the ice, we can give you a cookie.
A virtual
I was going to
cookie.
say, I never met an Argentinian who was shy, so bring it on.
Exactly. It's just, it only gets one brave person to get the ball rolling, Generally, that's the way it works here. Let's see. You were super clear, apparently. Oh, yeah. Nicole has a question. Does community college have full ride scholarships? Oh, the age-old question, like you always get these questions, right? The scholarships questions. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take that, representing Maryland's community colleges. So the short answer is no. However, I will explain. Please recall that the only way that you qualify for an F1 visa, this is the visa that you will obtain at your U.S. consulate office or embassy, where you present your admissions letter, and your certificate of eligibility, that the very nature of that visa is that you must show that you have the financial ability to pay in order to study in the United States. Basically, the F1 visa holder is not eligible, for example, federal financial aid, as is a U.S. Citizen or permanent resident. So a condition of the visa that you're applying for is that you and your family demonstrate the ability to pay. That said, the community college is your cost-saving choice. As I mentioned, we don't have dorms. Therefore, our annual requirement to show the amount that you must demonstrate to show that you are ready to study at a Maryland community college is about $28,000 for the year. Whereas our four-year institutions, you'll find the tuition generally starts at about $40,000. Please remember that your 2 years at your Maryland community college, those credits will transfer to your four-year institution. So you have saved money in your first 2 years. Additionally, we absolutely do have athletic scholarships, wonderful honor scholarships, but those are available in your second year. So community college is still the most affordable way to start your education in the United States. And in Maryland, as I mentioned, we have an articulation system and agreement of how your courses transfer from the 2-year to the four-year institutions. But no, there will be no such thing as a full ride for an international student, because again, the nature of the F1 visa per the federal government is that you and your family demonstrate an ability to pay. You will find that many institutions do offer some type of scholarship, helping reduce the cost. But I just want to be honest with you, you shouldn't expect for someone to pay for your college degree in the United States at the beginning of your education. If that was true, I'm headed to Paris next week. But no, so you are a guest of the federal government with an F1 visa, but fully expect scholarships once you're here to help ease the cost of attendance. Absolutely.
I'd just like to add, you really should research all the universities, because the range of scholarships may vary. For example, I know that Towson ranges from $4,000 to $11,000, yet our athletes could get something similar to a full ride depending on the sport. So you should take a look at the particulars in terms of that. Again, part of the ingredients, you want to read the label of your cookie that you're choosing.
And this is why, going back to being organized is really important, because you'll learn in your research that every school has different resources, different requirements to obtain those resources. And I would just like, since we're on the topic of scholarships and financial aid, that don't let the private part of college defer you from applying to a private school. Goucher is a private liberal arts institution, but we do offer many scholarships for our international students. Now, this is not the case for every school, which is why your research is important. But with tuition and room and board, we are expecting students to pay $65,000 a year. However, not a single student that goes to Goucher actually pays that entire price, because every student does get some type of financial or merit award, including our international students. And those range from $20,000 to $36,000. So that's already about half of your costs covered by the school. So don't let the private part of an institution defer you from applying to a private school, because there's resources out there.
I would add to that, please do not let the name of any school deter you from applying.
Mm-hmm.
Apply and then find out what you get. You never know. You will never know until you apply. So if you want to go to X school that seems like too far, like a reach, apply. You might get some type of assistance, you might get some type of scholarship, something.
There's a question from Anna.
Yeah.
Do I have any advice to choose between cookies we love, I'm hungry again, and decide earlies. It's really hard. I'm not quite sure if I understand your question, Ms. Anna. Can you unmute and just share with us what you mean?
I think she means the early decisions, you know, that between where to apply early decision, early action, you know, like you want to eat all the cookies, you know, when you see them there and you want to eat them all, but you can't. Following the metaphor, that's a great metaphor. I'm going to start using it. I'm going to give you credit for it, but I'm going to start using that metaphor because it's great. It's amazing.
It's copyrighted. So I just would like to say, folks, that's a very important point. Early action, early decision, understand the difference. Early action is non-binding, early decision is binding. So if you just want to have a taste of each cookie, early action is your cookie, is your choice. You want to apply early action, that means you're not committed to the school, you're just applying early and getting a situation, an answer earlier, which means that you can find out if you're getting a scholarship earlier, and you can, as Jen said, you can go to your Excel sheet and start doing the analysis in terms of who is who and what is what.
I agree. And while it's hard, we understand this is difficult to choose your college, to choose the cookie. The truth is, I think most American students probably apply for 3 to 5 colleges. They do have an advantage over you in that they can visit. The school visit is huge. And while you may not be able to visit from Argentina, all of the virtual resources for a virtual tour, a virtual visit, plus the responsiveness of the staff, you will soon be able to identify your favorite. Be honest. You know, your aunt makes a cookie and your mom makes a cookie and your sister makes a cookie, but you don't tell your aunt that your sister's cookie is your favorite, right? So you will, as you pick your top 3 to 5 institutions, not 100, that's crazy, that'll give you a bellyache. But as you identify your top 3 to 5 institutions, you're looking to see that they have your major. Have you decided if you want an urban versus suburban setting? Do you prefer a smaller classroom? Do you want a co-ed college? Do you want one that's religiously affiliated? Be honest. We know most American college students choose because their uncle or auntie or mom said so. Not the best way to choose a college. This really is your experience, your bellyache. No. So you should sit down and be honest and say, okay, do they have my major? Are they in an area where I would feel comfortable? You've heard us say over and over again, diverse, diverse, diverse. Let me break that down a little bit. For me as a person of color, will I find a place where I can find the food I like, find my hair care products, find a place to worship? Will I see people look like me, or am I the only one? I'm sorry. I'm an older woman, a person of color in this country, and I tend to be very blunt because I don't have much time left. And I value people and want to always tell you the truth. So if you like the idea of a remote college in the Midwest where you're the only person from Argentina, go for it. But if you're interested in a place that has your major, bustling things to do on a weekend, great opportunities for employment once you're done, or for OPT, you like that you can find a church or a mosque or, you know, wherever it is that you will be comfortable, be very honest with yourself. And if it comes down strictly to finances, then you and your family will be honest about that too. But after you look at your top 3 to 5, it's time to choose. Don't eat 100 cookies. There really is one where you were welcomed, you felt appreciated, you knew they wanted you to come. That's the one to choose.
Ms. Stanley, while you're at it, IB credits for community colleges.
Yes, so it does depend upon the community college. International baccalaureate credits often here they may transfer, or we may ask for, of course, official transcript or a placement test to show equivalency levels. So I would say at CCBC, yes. At my community college, yes, they very likely transfer, depend upon the major. And that is important. The major determines what will be accepted, even if you've done some college level study at home. Mm-hmm. Antonella's hands up.
Hi. Sorry, could you tell us more about early decisions and early actions? Because until 2 minutes ago, I thought they were the same thing. So could you tell us which one should I pay more attention to, or?
As
Yeah.
I mentioned before, do you want to take it, Jen?
Yeah. So with early action and early decision, I know it could be very confusing. And so the best way for me to remember the difference between the two is early decision. You are deciding on the spot. You are signing a contract with your parents and your counselor that says, if I get admitted into this school, I am going no matter what. No matter how much money they give me or don't give me, no matter, anything else. This is my top choice. If I get in, I'm 100% going. To be honest, a lot of schools are moving away from early decision. There are still some schools that have early decision options, but early action is the most popular option for students who are looking at many, more than one college. I believe, for our international students, because some of you may also be looking for schools outside of the US, if you're going to Australia or Canada or wherever, you might have, 10 to 15 colleges on your list, and which is pretty average for our international students. So early action, you can apply to as many schools as you want. And typically for the US, you have until May 1st to decide which school you want to commit to. So there's no binding contract. Typically with the contract, if you get admitted to that school, you have to withdraw your applications from all of your other schools. But for early action, which for most schools is between, I believe, like October to December. That's pretty much the time when you'll be submitting your applications. That's the most popular deadline for most students.
I like to add a little bit of some of those on those dates. Most of the time you're applying for the fall. When we talk about early action or early decision, you're applying technically for the following fall. So if you're applying right now, you'll be applying for fall 23. Now, let's talk about the seasons. You're in the South, we're in the North. So fall for us is starting in September. Okay, so that's what they usually mean. When we talk about the spring semester, they're talking about the months of January. The timing of your application is important because some schools will only offer scholarships for the fall term.
Mm-hmm.
Other schools may offer for the fall and spring. So again, look at the package, turn it around and look at the ingredients, read the fine print. Okay, these are smart decisions that you need to start making. Am I going to apply? Because I know that the school year might be different if you are not within the United States calendar. So this is important for you to start timing it as well.
Thanks, Jose. There's a question about liberal arts programs that I can take a stab at, and then my colleagues, if you have more to add, feel free. Yeah, again, it depends. A lot of times, when you ask a question, your panelists will say, well, it depends. It depends on the school. It depends on the programs. Right now at Goucher, we don't have any 3+2 programs, but we do have 4+1 programs. And so again, depending on the school, they might have many options. I've heard of 1+2+1 or 2+2 or all of these other mathematical equations. But essentially, Goucher, we have a few 4+1 programs where when you obtain your undergraduate degree in 4 years, you can obtain your master's in 1 additional year versus the 2 years that you would normally. Taliesin, I don't know if you have 3+2 programs or
Have what we call accelerated programs. So yeah, that's what I was mentioning before. You can get your master's within 5 years instead of 6. Get your bachelor's and your master's instead of 6. It would all depends. I was like, when you said 2+2, I was like, community colleges too? Yes, we have that. But yes, there's also very important accelerated programs. And again, the accelerated programs differ from university to university. So take a look at those. For example, accounting is very popular to go into a 5-year program, because in order for you to be a CPA, you need more credit. In order for you to sit at the CPA exam, you need more credits than you would need for to graduate from your bachelor's. So most universities are offering the accelerated program, so that not only you can sit a CPA exam, but now you're going to get a master's too.
Awesome. And here at CCBC, we have an associate's to bachelor's program with in nursing. So you do your 2 years here and then go on to Towson and Stevenson to earn your bachelor's degree in nursing, because in the United States, that while you can practice as a registered nurse, passing the state boards, ultimately the profession is moving to the professional who has a bachelor's degree. So we have those agreements as well.
Great questions, folks. I know we're running a little bit short on time, close to time. So is there any final questions? I'm happy to put my email address in the chat, so that if anyone would like to reach out to the three of us individually, we're more than happy to help. Again, even though we represent our own institutions, we're here to help you through your college process.
Agreed. And I wanted to give a shout out to Miss Nicole Chen, because she's kept us on our toes, Mr. Jose and Miss Chen. She's come with the questions. So thank you, Miss Nicole. You made us think today.
All right. Well, thank you, Nelly, Dan, and Jose. I'll be talking about this presentation a lot. I'll be referring to you a lot from now on, because I love the cookie metaphor. For all those who are there, and it's the first time in an Education USA session. Tomorrow we're having a 5-step session. So for those of you who are still, considering studying in the US and you need more help, of course, you can contact Nelly, Jose, and Jen, but you can also come to our 5 steps where we're going to tell you everything you need to know to start the process if you're there, right? I wanted to add that so that once they have all the information, they can go to you with specific questions, right? We like to go to you for the the specifics, right? You are the experts on your state, and we want our students to go to you for those questions that we don't know how to answer, right? So Emmy, you wanna wrap it up?
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining in, especially our representatives today, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.
Absolutely. Looking forward to hearing from all of you.
Great. Okay, everybody,
guys.
have a good afternoon. See you next
Ciao.
time.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.